My Classboard Accountant Login Overview for Ryan International Schools. We're pleased to announce the launch of our updated version of My Classboard tool. This updated version comes with advanced technology and loaded features. It's very fast, light, and more user-friendly, and it definitely will bring ease of use to all the stakeholders of the school. The new version can be accessed through the current login credentials. So this was the login page, Ryan and dbeta.myclassboard.com. Now, once the accountant logs in with this particular login ID and password, the first screen that he or she would look at is this. Right on the top right corner, you could see the list of modules the accountant is assigned for or they've got access for. When you click on each module, they'll get into that particular module, and you see a top bar with all the main menus. Right? So similarly for transport and for other modules. So in this new version, what we've done is we've put up reports separately for each module in their login page. Right. So to begin with finance, yeah. So this is the main, menu here: fee management, collections, petty cash collections, etc. At the same time, you also see some dashlets here. So, right, each dashlet has its specific service. So day fee collections will explain you the fee account-wise collections in terms of check and online payments on this particular day. Check bounce will explain you about how many checks have been bounced on this particular day, or the previous checks, which is basically the total checks as on this particular date. Fee collections trend will show you, the payment mode wise: cash, challan, or check, the number of payments that you've received. It can be checked for today, last 30 days, or this financial year. The next one is installment wise fee dues, which will show you fee account type payments that is received for each quarter. And this is also on this particular date. Similarly, class wise fee dues on this particular day for all the quarters that you have. Moving on, we'll go ahead and check, how to make payments. So when you click on the make payment screen, you can select the name of the student. Let's say, for example, we'd want to get into the student's profile. So the first screen that you see is the fee details. So the total fees that is assigned to this particular student, and what is the amount that is paid, and the balance which is outstanding. So in this case, we don't see any payment that is received for this particular student. At the same time, at the box below, you could see the amount automatically populated. So the moment the fee due date is passed, the system will automatically show the total amount due. And since the second quarter fee is not paid, it's already showing it here. So if you want to proceed paying for that amount, you can just click on next. And for example, if the parent has given you a check which is rounded off, a little more than what it's supposed to be. Let's say they've made it rounded it off for 15450. Now what it does is it'll adjust the additional amount of 35 rupees that is paid towards the quarter 3 tuition fees, right? In the same screen, you could also select the mode of payment: cash, check, or RTGS, whatever it is, and then click on save and continue to make the payment. Similarly, for example, if a parent rounds off the total amount to a lesser amount, let's say instead of 15,450, they just make 15,400. So there is a little less amount that is paid. So the amount will still show as outstanding for quarter 2 in the next bill. So the 15 rupees is due there. So in this case, you can check or pull up the details of the check by using the check number and the MICR code. So the moment you enter an MICR code, it will automatically pull up the bank details where the check is from, and the branch. Or you can also search it based on the IFSC code. Either ways. So on the view transactions screen, we could see all the transactions for this particular student and the payment modes. It is either cash or check, etc. At the same time, under the fee type column here, you could see the bifurcation of the fee or the division of the fee that is paid. This can automatically be done again through the system. In the same screen, you can also, request for you can put up a change request just in case if you want to, get an approval for the higher authority for processing, any changes. You could do it right from here. At the same time, you can also, generate a printout of the receipt from here, right? So under the check payment screen, you could see all the checks that have been, received for this particular class, student, and the details of the check, etc., and the amount, and how much is it, assigned to for each fee type. At the same time, you can also mark this check as bounced, just in case if it is bounced, you want to mark it, you can do it here. At the same time, if you want to change or edit the details of the check, for example, if you have incorrectly updated the bank name or the amount, you want to edit it, you can do it here. Under the fee management, you can check, the total or the details of the fee types that is assigned to this particular student. And, under the slab, if the student changes the route of the bus, and based on which the slab also needs to be changed, you can make those changes here. And then the fee ledger shows the total, fee types that is assigned to this particular student against which the payments are made, and the total amounts that is due. And how is the amount paid and the details of that payment modes. Now under the collection reports, we also have other reports like bank submission form, online payments, fee payment search, dishonored checks, which is like bounce checks, check statements, fee transaction summaries, and ledger reports, right? So let's take a look at bank submission form. Once you click on bank submission form, you select the branch, and you also select the account type and set the date range. Select the fee account type, and click on show report. So on the screen, you'll get a report of all the deposited checks. Just in case if you also want to get a report for bounce checks or all checks, including the bounce checks separately, you could also select that and click on show report. So under this report for the deposited checks, you can see the details of the enrollment code, the student details, the amount paid, check number, etc. At the same time, you also have sorting options. For every heading there, you have a sorting option where you can sort based on that. At the same time, you also have an option to print directly from here instead of exporting it and printing it separately. You could print out the sheets right away from here. So under the online payments screen, we can get a list of all the online payments that are received between the date range. Again, select the dates, and then show the report. So you see the total online payments that is received along with the payment gateway details here. Right. So for example, if you also want to, you also have a export option and also the sorting option here on the screen as well. Now, if you want to look at the settlement report, let's say your bank account is credited with, let's say a 1 lakh rupees on a particular day, and you want a breakup of, who are the students who've contributed to that 1 lakh. You can check it on the settlement screen. Click on the settlement screen, and if you just scroll down, let's say on this 19th of July, we have 4 payments. The total comes to around close to about, let's say 8,000 or 9,000. So you want a breakup of that 9,000, you can go to the statement and check the details. You can compare it against the bank statement. In terms of dishonored checks, you want to get a list of all the bounced checks until between a date range. You can click on the screen and get the report of that. We select the fee account type, and then select the check status. If you want all checks, or there are few checks which are bounced but the payment is already done in another form, or probably another check is issued, that will be considered as repaid. Or if you want to check only unpaid, you could get a report of that. There you go. It looks like there's only one check as of now. You could also see the check amount that is bounced and what is the repaid amount, and how is that made again, and what is the balance outstanding. And they've repaid it with another check here. Moving on to the check statement, you select the branches again and the date range, and select the bank that you bank with. So let's say I use State Bank of India to deposit all my checks. So this is my preferred bank. So now what I can see in this statement below is basically the checks received from all banks. So different parents have given me checks for different banks. I have all the details here under you know uh, all bank check details. At the same time, if I only want to see State Bank of India checks, all I can do is click on selected bank checks, so it only will show me State Bank of India checks, so that you could generate a separate form for it and deposit in State Bank of India. And other bank check details except or excluding the State Bank of India will show in this statement here. But if you just want to consolidate everything into one, you can also do it on all bank check details. You also have columns that you can add to this particular grid that you can see. So whenever you want to add a little more add columns, you can also add C. So for example, if you want to add student enrollment code or admission number, so that along with the table, you can also get that here. Right, so this is a fee balance report which tells you the total outstanding dues for the students. You can select the class. Right, so in this particular report, you select the quarter that you want to look into the details for, and select paid percentage or paid amount. Let's say for example, in this case, I want to get a report of all the students who've paid nothing as of now. Right, so the amount is equal to 0, so I have so many students who've not paid anything at all. Right, so this is the report that I have. Similarly, I can search for an amount. For example, if I want to search how many people have paid at least 500 rupees, amount is equal to at least 500 rupees, it will give me a list of all the students there. So there's nobody who's paid just 500, so it will be similar to that. Similarly, you have more options there: less than or equal to, greater than, equal to, etc. You can also add remove columns here. So what kind of columns that you can add to this particular columns or statement. Now if we move on to fee transaction summary, you select the branches again and the classes and the date range, and I can select if I want to do a fee headwise or a section wise details, and the details of all the checks deposited. So here you can see the details, the transaction summary, based on the fee heads, the payment types by cash, check, or transfers, etc., and the total of it. Yep. So let's say if a student has made a payment but they've made it a little late, there is a fine that is attracted to that. So you want to adjust a fine that is already levied. For example, a parent has deposited a check 1 day or 2 days after the due date, but the accountant has entered it after a couple of days later. So ideally the system would automatically calculate the fee amount or the fine amount. So if you want to adjust it, you just go onto it, select the tuition fee, and then post the check a couple of days before, select the date before when it was actually made. The system will automatically calculate the fee or a fine amount based on the number of days it actually is. If you want to edit it, you can just click on edit here and then, waive the charges, or there is a fixed amount that you want to put it on, you can put there and then mention the reason and just save. You can also, generate challans here. Select the, criteria here and then, get challan to create a challan here. At the same time, if you want to look at the sibling report, how many siblings are there by their fees and stuff, so you can click on that. Under the one serial number, you could see all the siblings that are listed there, right? So both of them will have the same details here. There. And the accountants will also have access to other modules, for example, academics or, transport or admissions. Now let's look at an admissions module, how an accountant can access that. This dashboard shows the details of the inquiries or registrations that has happened in that particular month. It could be month-wise or grade-wise, whichever way you'd like to take a look at it. And when you click on this number, you will get into the details of that application or an inquiry form, and you can see the details of the students or inquiries that have come in there, and the status of that particular application or an admission. Under the front office, you will see application forms and also admission forms. So once you click on application form, you can actually go ahead and create a form. So it's here where you can create new inquiries here and also take a look at all the inquiries there. So this is a basic form that you could fill in and then hit on next to, finish the parent details, address details and others, which is mentioned about here, and then submit it at the end. Similarly, for an admission form or a registration form, you can do the same thing here. So based on the inquiry code, since you filled in an inquiry form, you will get all the details auto-populated. You just select if you want to, opt for an transport facility here. If yes, then, select the pickup and drop points and the routes. And you also selection the strength. If it is a new admission or a transfer from another branch of yours. If it is a transfer, also select the location and the branch that they're coming up from, and hit on next and fill the rest of the details and hit submit at the end. So under the new version, once you finish updating or finishing a registration form, the registration number is automatically generated by the system. For example, if you have two different branches, Mont and Primary. For Mont, the serial numbers ends in M45 and then a series, right? 451, 452, etc. At the same time, for Primary, it will be 1611, 1612, etc. So it's automatically generated, so you don't have to manually do it. So under the admissions reports, you can see all these options. At the same time, you can also see pre-admission details, quarter-wise, day-wise dashboards, enrollment review. Let's take a look at enrollment review. If you click on it, you select the day, or it could be today, 7 days, 30 days. You see all the inquiries that have come in for this particular classes, right? And it's the total admissions as on those particular date. And this is the existing admissions cumulative total, admissions that you have. Similarly, the report can be generated for a custom date range or 30 days or 7 days. At the same time, if you also want to look at a pre-admission details, report, you could click on it. I think we've seen this in the dashboard. You just click on one of those numbers. It'll give you the list of all the admission inquiries that you've got. So all of that can be pulled up from here. Moving on to the transport module, where the accountant will also have access in. So this is the dashboard for the transport, wherein you can see the number of buses here, the routes, the total number of students in the school, and how many of them have opted for transport here. The transport student list class-wise will give you the list of girls and boys, per each class, how many of them are actually, are availing the transport here. At the same time, transport fees month versus count. So this is the number of students for using transport in this particular months, right? If there are some of them who are dropping off or probably who are joining extra, so all of them can be noted from here. Transport fee collections versus dues, what is the total amount due and then what is the amount collected. So you can also check that here in the snapshot. The student list, root versus student strength. So basically, based on the roots that are mentioned here, how many students do you have, and how many boys and how many girls in that. Moving on to the transport option here, we can create bus routes here, right? So if you click on it, you want to create a new bus route. You just select the number, name of, bus number, and fill in the details, and you can create a new route. At the same time, if you want to, add vehicle details or upload different bus routes, all of that can be done here. Assigning bus routes to the student. So once you create a bus route, you want to assign that route to a particular student or probably a group of students, you can do it right from here. So just select the route and then get, and under the actions you can add them, or you want to add more students to it, click here to add more students there. Under the transport reports, you could get class-wise transport details, and slab-wise student list, transport details, vehicle details, and transport availing siblings. So this is another inquiry that we generally get about transport availing siblings, wherein you want to get a list of all the siblings who are using transport. Just click on it, you get under the same serial number you will see all this siblings who are using the transport. And under the class-wise transport details, you'll find based on the class how many of them are using it, and the route, bus route. B is boys, girls, and total. So you get the breakup of all the details here. Similarly, slab-wise students, you want to see how many students are there in each particular slab. You can see similarly, you could also see that here. This is the class, boys, girls, and total, and this is the fee plan slabs. I think that's pretty much it about the accountant login. So just in case if you have any questions, please feel free to call us on 040-4858-4444 or email us at support@myclassboard.in. Thank you.